Hey guys, Ivan here, and in today's video we got a couple of very interesting bodybuilding updates. The first one is about Derek Lunsford, and we pretty much have a confirmation of who Derek Lunsford's new coach actually is. So for a long time I actually thought it was gonna be AJ Sims, especially after him and Derek Lunsford filmed that podcast. I thought it made sense. I mean, AJ is a great coach, but also because he is very, very religious, just like Derek. So I thought it would simply make sense. But after a while, a new rumor started circling around. I think it was Dave Palumbo who first said it basically on his podcast. And he didn't really say it exactly, if I remember correctly, but he kind of said it that it was Chris Aceto. And you guys know that Chris Aceto and Dave Palumbo are personal friends. They have a podcast together and so on. So at that point, I thought it could be Chris Aceto, but today we got a confirmation pretty much. Let me show it to you.
By the way, I think I found out who he working with without you telling me. Or us. Because you kept it all quiet. It was already in the comments.
I mentioned the name,
Who?
I mentioned Chris, but I like hide it through the Chris Cormier. I didn't say.
Oh, so you knew it the whole time.
Yeah, but it's 1 + 1 is always 2. It was logical.
You didn't, I don't know. You didn't say
It will make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, well.
But okay, I'm gonna say it, even though Derek might hate me again.
So there you go, guys. As you know, Chris Cormier is helping Derek with his posing and I believe training as well. And he didn't really confirm it here. He never really made it official, but you can see it, basically. You can see everything based on his reaction right here. And Dennis is the one who first said it. He found out who Derek's new coach is. And then Milos also kind of said it. He knew it all along. And Chris did not deny it. And he was like, it made sense. And he was laughing. So yeah, it is pretty much confirmed. I mean, we still have to wait for Derek to make a public announcement. But at this point, yeah, it's pretty much clear. It's official, you can say it. I mean, it's in the bag. Derek Lunsford is now coached by Chris Aceto. After Heinz Rambo decided to retire from competing, we didn't know who Derek is going to work with next. Is it going to be one of the new, younger coaches? Is it going to be Stefan Kinsel? But no, Derek went with another type of a coach. And it's interesting that Chris Aceto actually coached Jay Cutler for the majority of his career, and Heinz Rambo took over in those last couple of years. Heinz Rambo helped Jay to win his title back in 2009, but before that it was Chris who was coaching him. You guys know all the results that Chris achieved as a coach. Everybody knows Chris Aceto. He's one of the most popular coaches in the history of bodybuilding, really, and I would say he's still at the top of his game. Maybe he doesn't have a lot of heavy hitters. I mean, he kind of does, like Andrew Jack, he's coaching him, and Ramon Dino in Classic, and a whole bunch of other competitors, and over so many years, like for the last 20, 30 years, maybe even, he worked with so many top bodybuilders, so many champions, and yeah, I think this is a pretty good decision for Derek. I really don't see how this can go wrong. I'm pretty sure Derek is going to be at his best conditioning of his life, because that's kind of what Chris Aceto is known for. Like, he is the guy that brings everybody super conditioned. He is the conditioning kind of a coach, and yeah, Derek definitely could have used more conditioning. Hani, however, Hani can bring some guys super diced, but also he's always trying to bring guys as full as possible at the same time. So I wouldn't say that Heinz Rambo's trademark is conditioning. It is just completeness and winning the Mr. Olympia titles, really. But Chris Aceto's trademark is conditioning. If you are prepped by Chris Aceto, you will be shredded on that stage. And also, Chris Aceto is coaching Derek's training partner for the last year, Matt Grego. So obviously, Derek was familiar with Chris's approach. He liked what Chris was doing with Matthew, and he decided to hire him as a coach as well. And again, I'm pretty sure he made the right decision now with the new coach and opposing coach and a trainer. Like, he has a really good team around him, a good training partner as well, and with the family that's supporting him and so on. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Derek will be able to bring his absolute best to the Arnold Classic. We'll see if it's going to be good enough to beat Samson. I wouldn't bet on it, But I'm optimistic. I believe there is a strong possibility of Derek bringing something new, something better than ever, something we haven't seen from him so far on that Arnold Classic stage, and potentially something even better for the Mr. Olympia later in the year. Whatever you guys think, tell me down below in the comment section. Alright, the next thing we got is something that we have kind of talked about for years now. We didn't know if this was actually gonna happen, but it is happening. So Breon Ainsley posted this post on IG right here. He says, Classic or 212 YouTube video is live. And I'm gonna show you the video in a second, but you can also see the comment from Phil Heath right there. He says, simply allow your body to take control and not look at a scale again. So Phil here is definitely advising Breon to actually switch to bodybuilding, to 212, because he was holding back so much to fit the weight cap in Classic. And, you know, he won the Mr. Olympia in Classic twice already, and since then he was, you know, like in the top 5, top 3, somewhere around there. But was there a chance of him winning the Mr. Olympia again? I would say no. I mean, like, maybe if he was super lucky and everybody else was off, but it probably wouldn't have happened again. And, like, why would it? I mean, he's like 46, I think, right now, and he won the title twice. So what is the point of doing Classic anymore? And his body is actually, like, holding on to a lot of tissue at that age. So he has to suffer down to make the weight. So why not just let it go, let it grow as much as possible in the off season and actually try the 212? Well, he's going to do that. Let me show you the video real quick.
This year, 2025, I will be taking my talents to the 212 division. It is time.
Alright, so you heard the guy. That's it. It's official. He is switching to the 212 finally. A two-time Mr. Olympia Classic Physique champion is going to the 212 now. At the age of, I think he's turning 46 in 2025. So at this age, he decided to switch to the open. I just hope he is not going to do something stupid, something drastic, in order to catch up with the size of these other big guys and, you know, mess up his health. I mean, the other guys in 212 are a lot bigger than Breon Ainsley, than the Classic Physique guys. So he definitely needs to do some growing. Now, I hope he was actually holding back for Classic Physique. Like, I know he was always super lean the entire year, and he was always basically almost ready for the stage. He competed very often because of that. So hopefully he was actually, you know, not eating a lot, trying to keep his weight down. And now that he actually wants to do the bodybuilding, he's actually gonna just, you know, let his body grow without holding it back. And maybe push a little with food and training, and hopefully not push too much with gear, because at that age, you know, all kinds of complications and problems can happen. So let's hope that doesn't happen. Now, as far as Breon Ainsley versus the top 212 guys, well, the Instagram pages have already started making these video comparisons, like this one here, comparing Breon to Keon. But the funny thing is, Keon and Breon actually did compete against each other on the same stage back in 2019 when Keon was still doing Classic. Allegedly, he was natural at the time. It was difficult to believe it back in the day, but now, seeing how much he grew, maybe it's actually possible. I don't think he was completely natural, but he was probably on very low amounts, maybe just something very mild. I don't want to guess, but I don't think he was completely natural. But I believe he wasn't blasting the way he is today. And at that time, Breon was beating Keon, but of course, Keon was a lot smaller, a lot, maybe like 30, 40 pounds lighter. Now it's going to be a different story completely. And right off the bat, I don't see Breon potentially beating Keon. I don't see that happening, seeing Breon winning the Mr. Olympia title. But can he stand next to Keon and be in like the top 5 or top 3? I mean, the other guys are also really freaking big, like Sean Clarida, Angel Calderon, Garrett Baggio, and many others. They are all freaking massive. But you gotta consider that Breon is not gonna be the way he looked in Classic Physique. He's gonna have an off-season, and he's gonna grow. Like you saw in that video that he made, he looks like he's in an off-season. Like, deep into an off-season. So I think he's probably gonna do one of the shows later in the year, maybe try and qualify for the Mr. Olympia. Is that gonna happen? I think it depends on how much more muscle he can add, and which show he decides to do, but I think it's very possible. I'm pretty sure we'll see Breon on the Mr. Olympia 212 stage. How high will he place? We'll see. As far as him beating Keon, yeah, I don't see that happening. Like, the main issue that I see here is the legs. It's very obvious. At that age, 45, 46, I don't see Breon bringing up the legs that much to really match Keon's legs. No, upper body, maybe he can grow, maybe he can actually get fuller and bigger, but lower body, I think that's pretty much gone. And it's probably even worse from behind. Not just the lower body, but like the upper body as well, the back. I mean, the overall size, density, thickness, like Keon. I mean, nobody's beating Keon, let's be real. But for Breon to stand next to him, to be in the top 3, top 5, I think that's a possibility, but he needs to put on a lot more tissue and, not peak for the classy, but peak for bodybuilding, show up fuller, bigger, with more muscle, with more tissue, without trying to hold himself back and actually being focused on growing the entire year. I think we're going to see a very impressive version of Breon. How high can he place in classy, and actually in 212 Mr. Olympia? I don't know. You guys tell me, what do you think? But I think it's fairly possible to see him in the top 5 if everything goes well for him. Alright, and finally, we got something interesting. We got an update, actually a couple of updates from Roelly Winklaar. So this is the latest one. When I saw this, I was like, why is Roelly this big again? Like, he was definitely downsized for a long time. And now he's massive again. And I heard that he's not going to be coming back and competing like in the open category at the Mr. Olympia and so on. He tried for those last couple of years, like a year or two, and he wasn't able to qualify for the Mr. Olympia. Back in the day, in 2018, for example, Roelly was one of the best guys in the world. He was actually one of the contenders to potentially win the Mr. Olympia. I mean, he placed 3rd in 2018 when Sean Rodden won. So Phil Heath was 2nd, and right there, it was Roelly. And man, he looked damn good that year. I mean, his midsection was in check, it was tight, and he was super freaking massive. One of the most freaky bodybuilders of all time, really. And after that, it all kind of started going downhill, and he retired basically in the meantime. But did he? So I heard a rumor, I don't know how true this is, but there is a rumor out there that says that Roelly is potentially, probably, maybe gonna do the Masters Mr. Olympia. And it was actually recently announced, a couple of days ago, actually 2 days ago, it's gonna be held in Japan, in Tokyo. And as you can see, it's gonna happen at the August 9th and 10th. And they didn't really say what is the prize pool for this show, but I'm expecting it to be decent. And I mean, still winning a Mr. Olympia, whether it's a Masters or the regular one, it's still a Mr. Olympia, and somebody has to do it. So why not Roelly? I mean, they actually brought this show back, and then it was no longer there for a year or two, and now it's back again. And as of right now, I don't know who else is doing this show as far as like the top name guys. But if Roelly decides to do it, I think he has a good chance of winning it, because as you can see in this physique update as well, it seems like Roelly is back, man. Like, everything seems to be back. Like, the size of those freaking arms and shoulders, it's back. You can even see the legs right here, they're also pretty massive. And there is still a long time since August, so obviously he is able to train, to eat, to do whatever it takes to actually look this good. And there is a long time till August, so he can definitely progress further, get bigger, get more shredded, and actually compete at the Masters Olympia. Can I see him winning a pro show and qualifying for the Open? I mean, I don't know. I think it was 2021 when he was trying and struggling, but he was still placing like in the top 5, top 6. All these new younger guys were beating him, so I don't know if he can actually bring the size that much and like the freak factor and everything that he had back in the day and get to the Mr. Olympia stage. Maybe if he chose the shows wisely, but I don't know. I think that train is gone. I think what he can do right now, and actually if he wants to compete, if he wants to go on the stage again with this size that he has, that he actually brought back now, I think he can do pretty well at the Masters Olympia. And again, there is the rumor that is saying that he's going to do it. Maybe he showed some interest in it, and maybe he's not sure. We'll see. But what do you guys think? Tell me down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. For more content like this, guys, stay tuned. Subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon. All the best, and bye-bye.